Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, we're going to be painting a autumn wreath. This video is going to be part one. We're going to do the background and some of the wreath. And then in next week's video, we'll finish it up with some mushrooms and things. I thought this would be a fun one for autumn. Got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man of chat, so you can ask questions while I'm painting. Let's get started. All right, so I've got a plain 12 by 12 inch canvas. If you wanted to start out, you could put it like a coat of, I don't know, yellow oxide or something like that back on it. I think we're just gonna kind of be mixing in a bunch of different colors tonight just for the background. And we can use really whatever colors we want out of our arsenal of colors on our palette for a background. So if you don't like this kind of muddy green color that was in the reference, feel free to change it to whatever, or even just a clean white would be pretty. I might go a little bit lighter than what's in the reference because I think it kind of came out a little bit dark. But I kind of want an earthy colors for this one. For brushes, I'm just going to be using, some large, like a large bright here. This is the Aspen 12 bright, and then like an angle brush for some of the wreath branches and things. And then we'll be doing some leaves and things. I might pull out some other brushes, but I'm going to mostly start with this large flat here. And then let me go over colors.
Hold on just a second. How about that one?
Good, thank you. Carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide, cadmium yellow light, India yellow hue, cadmium red light, quinacridone magenta, ultramarine blue, cobalt teal, phthalo green yellow shade, and green gold, unbleached titanium, titanium white, and some satin glazing liquid. If you don't have all of these colors, just use what you've got that's similar. A lot of them can be mixed. So like if you don't have these two, you can use the phthalo blue with some yellow to get something similar. Same with green gold, you use the phthalo green, or even maybe a tiny, tiny, tiny touch of phthalo blue with some of the yellows to make the green gold color. It's mostly yellow. But anyhow, that's a whole nother story. Let's get going here. I originally had said that I was going to do it on 11 by 14 because there's kind of a branch that's coming down, but I'm going to go ahead and crop the image. You can see we'll leave some room around it, so I might make my wreath a little bit smaller than this, but I wanted to use a square wreath or square canvas, I think. So that's the 12 by 12. And to start out, we're just going to use water in our spray bottle and spray our canvas. My spray bottle I dropped it again and it's acting up again. I don't know what I did to it. Maybe that comes out. I'm not really sure. It's supposed to like do continual mist, and I'm having to squirt it multiple times again.
Like the other ones you dropped?
Exactly. It might have to go into the spray bottle graveyard with all the other broken ones.
You need to put a big pad on the bottom so when you drop it, it doesn't.
It's just big foam thing, foam pillow around it. Oh, no. Yeah, it's just too tall. That's what happens. It's so tall, it just gets knocked over when I'm being careless. Okay. First world problems. Let's talk about background colors. So, for this kind of muddy green color, really we can just make mud however, we want to. It's kind of looks like it's got even slight orange undertones, orange and brown and yellow and green, and maybe even a little bit of teal. So really any of those colors we can mix for mud. Anything that's kind of like complementary, opposite on the color wheel, will work for this kind of color when we want it to be really kind of neutral. So I think I'm going to start with the teal. Grab some of that and some of my yellow oxide, because I know I want that. And I think I'll mix, and that's already kind of similar to that color, but it's pretty bright, right? It's kind of like vivid. So what we can do is add maybe some unbleached titanium or Titan Buff in Golden's name. This one's Liquitex, makes the unbleached titanium. It's a little bit more like yellow, just like it a little bit more than the Buff titanium. It's just personal preference. But that might be closer to what we want, plus that, but unbleached titanium will give us a little bit more of the opacity that we want. So Cobalt, Teal, Yellow Oxide. And the reason it works as kind of a muddy, quote-unquote, color is because that Yellow Oxide is already kind of muddy. And then the unbleached titanium also has burnt sienna and black and yellow oxide in it. So it's already kind of a muddy white. I'm going to add a little bit of that burnt sienna, and that will tone it down even more. So now it's even more neutral and grayed out. Okay, I think that's going to work. We'll just use this as our color and kind of flick it around. And this is one of the reasons why it's nice to have a background color, because you can see how much of that white is showing through. So we'll probably have to do a second coat on it. So just the undercoat does a couple of things. It makes it easier for you to see what the value of the colors that you're putting on are. I'm grabbing some green too. Why not? So if you want to, especially if you're going in and painting stuff and not just painting the background, but like painting your object, having something behind it when you start out is really helpful to judge the values, how dark and light you want things to be. Because this looks really dark, which it may end up looking really light once we start putting darker things on it. It's dark, it's lighter than my palette though. So my palette's kind of a neutral gray. It's like right in between. This green right here at the top is kind of equal with it, so we know we're kind of closer to the dark side of middle. And this one is kind of showing up a little bit more. So we're not the lightest color, but we're definitely kind of mid-lights. If you look at your value scale, we're somewhere in here with this background color. And just by holding it against our background, we can see that it's disappearing the most. Well, I'm getting a shadow. There we go. It's disappearing the most, like on this one and this one, when you look through those little peepholes. All right. Keep on going. How are you doing, hon?
I am doing good.
Chat doing good?
Yeah.
Is our favorite little follower watching?
Not yet, it doesn't seem like.
Okay. Our little granddaughter likes to watch our show.
Yeah, and for some reason, our chat stream is showing everybody's name with their @ sign.
Interesting.
Yeah, so instead of like your regular name that you have,
Oh, right.
like mine is @Grandpa Stick,
Nice.
but I don't know
Why it doesn't say Mark.
how that changed. And somebody said they looked at another stream and the other stream was normal, so now I gotta Google see what happened.
Well, probably something in my settings. I'll have to go in. They probably did sort of a pushed some sort of an update that we didn't really want and changed things without telling us. So, or maybe they did tell us and I just ignored it. Who knows? I get so many emails. And half the time I never know if they're really from the right person. I actually literally called Amazon today to complain about a package we got, and they were like, okay, we're going to send you a confirmation, but the phone number was from Google, and so I wasn't 100% sure it was really Amazon. So even when they sent me the confirmation email or the confirmation text, I still didn't reply to it to confirm that it was me. And then I was like, wait a minute, how would it, yeah, anyhow, then I finally did confirm and it was fine. But, you know, it's like, why am I'm so paranoid anymore? I just don't want to, you hear about all these really sophisticated scams going around.
Right.
And even when I'm calling them, I'm like, they're scamming me. It's got to be a scam.
Who answered the phone?
Sad. Sad times. Why did I even get on that
Oh,
tangent?
just the new change and not knowing
Oh, yeah, exactly.
if somebody told you or not.
I know, yeah.
So it looks like it is something that they push to help prevent impersonations.
Oh, okay.
So now I need to
To
figure
make
out
sure.
how to turn it off.
Turn it off. Okay.
Because we have such a squirrely little group of people here.
Right,
you know,
everybody's trying to.
kind of shifty-eyed.
The yellow, so now this new color is the white plus the yellow oxide and cobalt teal, and I did not add the burnt sienna to this. So it's going to be like a cleaner, because I used white, it's going to be a brighter, like more clean green. I'm just going to kind of pop it around here. I need to be careful because this is going to start to dry on me, and I don't want to mess with it when it's drying, because otherwise I'll just lift off all of what I've already done. So I'm going to just kind of try to catch it while it's still wet. Add some of this in. The middle part is where it's really going to be visible. And now I'm kind of like, when you don't want your brush strokes to show as much, I'm going to lay my brush almost flat. You can see how I'm not angling it upright. I'm kind of laying it flat as I'm brushing, and that way I'm getting less of the pointy bits of the brush kind of in contact. I'm trying to get this flat side in contact with the canvas so that it creates smoother brush strokes. Okay, I'm going to give this to you and just let you take that and dry it for me, honey. And then, because you can see it's still pretty wet, and then we'll have time to clean my hands off while he's doing that. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. We had a great time. Our oldest son got married last Thursday, and all of my family came. My brother that lives way out in another state came. We hadn't seen him for three or 4 years, so it was really fun to see him, his son, new baby, and all the family, my other brother and his wife, and then of course all of our kids. So it was really fun. My mom and dad came too. So Maggie's family. So yay, congrats to them. That was really fun. Let me show you what I worked on last week. The little sneak peek. Boop. That's for my brush set coming out soon. If you haven't seen I'm still not able to share the brush set, but I can show you kind of the back of the package. It does say my name. There's upside down. But it's going to be coming out from Princeton. It's a short-handled Aspen set, and I will have more information for you once it comes out. But it's really exciting. I'm really thrilled, beyond thrilled. I'm hoping that it comes out before Christmas. That'd be fun. But we're going to have lots of giveaways and things when it does, so it'll be fun. That's like peeking at the project that I worked on last week.
I like giveaways.
And I'm going to throw in some more of the deeper color there, and I'm just going to give it a second go here. And a little bit more of a sagey green color. And might add a little bit more of that yellow oxide to tint it. If you don't have that cobalt teal color, you can use phthalo blue or phthalo green with some yellow. Cobalt or phthalo turquoise would work with some white added. Yeah, you probably want to add a little bit of white because the cobalt teal is a kind of a lighterish color. Lighter-ish, is that a word?
Sure. We have another color question.
Okay. Loving this color. Question, if you didn't have the other whites or glazing medium, is there anything I can use besides those? So you didn't have this white here, I'm guessing is what they're asking. Yeah, if you don't have the this white, you can still use just regular white. All this is white with a little bit of yellow oxide and burnt sienna and a tiny touch of black. So that's the main ingredients of the Unbleached Titanium. And then the glazing medium, you can just use water. Just kind of watch how much. The main reason I use glazing medium is that I'm using heavy body acrylics, and they do. If you add too much water to them to thin them out, they do tend to not stick as well to the canvas. So. If you're using cheaper acrylics or student quality acrylics like Liquitex Basics or something like that, you won't have problems with it. But if you add a lot of water to a heavy body acrylic that is mostly pigment, like a professional quality heavy body acrylic, the medium helps make it stick. So even just a matte medium would be beneficial if you just have any kind of acrylic medium that you can add to it. But water is fine as long as you're not, thinning it out really, really thin, like inky consistency. Okay, so that's good. I think I can always go back in and add more. Might get a little bit of burnt sienna here. So I like that color too. It's really pretty. Kind of, even though, this is not my normal color, it kind of made it a little bit more. It's got a lot going on in there, so it's not as yellow as that one. And I might go back though and do a little bit more yellow now that I'm looking at the comparison, just to make sure. And this was, I will grab some glaze. So let's just pop in some of the yellow oxide here and there. It went down pretty heavy right there when I first put it on. You can also use a smaller brush if you want a little bit more control or less brush strokes. Depending on the size of the brush you use, you might get a whole different kind of pattern in this background here. So, if you use a Filbert, you might not get as many angular brush strokes. You might get more rounded little bits, but I think it looks okay. All right, so I'm gonna clean that out, set it aside, and then grab a brush that I can use to do some large kind of sweeping brush strokes. And also, actually, I think I want to start out with a stippler first. So maybe like something like that, or a sponge even. This is a 1-inch stippler from the Princeton. It's their gesso brush, 5450.
Got another question for color.
Go for it.
Well, it disappeared. So if they don't have yellow oxide, what could they use?
If you have yellow ochre, it's basically the same thing. Yellow oxide's not really one that's like a mixable color. I've tried mixing it before and it's almost impossible because it's like it's its own pigment. And usually if something's like its own pigment, it's tricky to manufacture. You could try like the India yellow, which is similar, and add maybe a unbleached titanium or something like that. But that would be one of the ones that I would for sure buy if you don't have it, is like a yellow oxide, burnt sienna, burnt umber. Even burnt umber you wouldn't have to have if you had burnt sienna, because you could add a little black to your burnt sienna. The yellow oxide's not really like that. It's kind of a little bit on its own. Harder to mix, I think. Okie doke. So I'm going to mix up some green for our background of our wreath. And I'm just going to kind of use basically the similar colors to what we've just been using. So I'm going to scoop up some green. I'm just going to grab all of this actually. Just the phthalo green and cobalt teal, and then mix up some burnt umber with it. This will make a nice dark green, and then if I need it lighter, I'll add my yellow oxide to it, or some of the white. I just had to put out some more of my phthalo green, or I'm sorry, I need to put out some more of my phthalo green. I had to put out some more of my unbleached titanium there because I ran out already. I kind of figured, but it's been hard to judge. It's like lately I've been wasting paint because I've been putting out more. So I'm being a little conservative today. Like, I hate wasting paint. All right, so that's good. Let me put out a little bit more of my yellow oxide. I just wanted to take my time with this part of it because I didn't want to rush through. So that's why we're doing this in 2 parts. I just figured it'd be easier just to kind of take our time, really show you like a good background, and leaves and all of that, sticks and things that I would normally just be blazing through. Kind of take my time and slow it down a little bit more. And then, whoop, I'm hoping we can do a couple of the mushrooms tonight too. We'll see how far we can get. And then next week we'll finish it. But the one that we'll finish with tonight, we'll see. I mean, I don't know how far we'll get, but I'll at least want to get it to a point where if you're like, I don't really want to do mushrooms on it, that you could leave it up, you know, as is. So, or at least get it to where it started to look good, and you can add more elements as you want, but you know, you don't have to add the mushrooms to yours if you don't like mushrooms. If you're not obsessed with them like I am right now. I keep trying to pop them into everything that I paint lately, which I do. I'm kind of obsessive painter that way. I painted about 200 nest paintings for a while there. I'm not exaggerating either. I wish I was, but that's the truth. And close to as many butterflies. Yeah, maybe only half that in butterflies, but still a lot. All right, so if you're using a stippler brush or a sponge brush, you don't want to load it up too much. You want to be able to see those bristles, but you want enough paint on there that as you stipple, you're not getting too like wispy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap over. Now they've gotten this dark green, I'm going to tap over that to get a couple of just a little bit of that lighter green on the tips there too. And then kind of just, you could use your chalk if you want, but kind of mark the boundaries of my wreath. Be careful, mine's wet, so I'm trying not to touch it too much. Where it's wet, find the center and then draw a circle around it, I guess. I think that's going to work. So that's kind of generally where I want my stippling to go, and I'm just going to tap back and forth. Get some more of that color. And when you're starting out new, start in the middle there so that if it goes on thick like it did, then you can kind of tap over it and work it out to the edges. And you're always kind of wanting to twist your brush side to side. You can see it's going to kind of make, this one is going to make kind of a linear mark. If you're using a sponge, it'll also make a mark depending on the shape of your sponge. So you just want to, when you're stippling like this, you want to be moving, always moving. You really don't want to tap, tap, tap like this in the same spot, because then you're just going to end up with a a solid area there. So you always want to be moving back and forth, up and down, back and forth, side to side. And I'm not too worried about it. I don't want it to be perfectly round, so I'm kind of deliberately sort of coming off the edges in some places, and also trying to create some little kind of fern-like or like branch-like protuberances. That's a big word. On
What was that word?
protuberances, right? Like,
You're asking me. I have no idea.
you don't know that word?
Why would I? Do I need to?
No. It just means things that are sticking out.
Oh,
Sticky outy things.
When I say that, I just say things that are sticking out.
Okay.
So
Sorry,
like it protrudes?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Did I make up a word that nobody knew? Maybe it's my own word. Who knows?
Protuberance. A thing that protrudes
Right.
from something. So why do they change the D to a B in the word?
Protuberance? I don't know. Protuberance? Because protuberance doesn't sound as good.
Those who are making up words like, no, that doesn't sound good.
Because to protrude is like
Protrude.
the verb. Protrude is the verb,
Yeah.
and protuberance is the noun version of it. It's the thing. Right?
Sure. I'll go with that.
That's what I'm guessing. I don't know. I could be wrong. All right, so I've got my green. It's way too green. I want it to be more neutral, so I'm gonna grab some more of my burnt sienna and some of this other color from the background, and I'm gonna use it with some of that green. And just kind of dab back over and neutralize and add another layer of just stuff on here. And this doesn't have to be everywhere. And this is really kind of just gray. You can see I'm just kind of graying it out. We could sometimes, you know, go in with like an area that's maybe more yellow and do a few areas like that, and then go in with areas that are more kind of reddish, brown. I am going to go in with brown for my, maybe let's get some green gold. Do some of that. Maybe a little bit of the lighter color, because I'm going to go in with my branches with, you know, brown, so I don't want everything to be brown, because then my brown branches won't show up. Okay, that looks good. It's kind of more neutral-ish. I think that'll do. See, this would work for a Christmas wreath. This would work for really any kind of wreath that you want. You just kind of start out with this kind of neutral background like this, and then we add stuff to it. I think I might want to go a little bit darker. One of the things with that reference photo that I was using was I kind of had a starting wreath that was very light, and when I put stuff that was dark on top, it kind of was like, woo, really noticeable. So, but I think what I can do is kind of as I add things, I might make it a little bit darker. So, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence there. I might go in and just do a few little areas with a darker color, get that maybe a little bit of ultramarine blue with my burnt umber this time, and then some of that green. which will make it a little bit different. And each time I'm doing this, I'm kind of just trying to add a little different something. So I know I'm going to have a mushroom in here that's going to have like a little bit of things, and then I'm going to have one right here, and then I'm going to have another one up here, right in here, and then another two over here and here, and one down kind of at the bottom. All right, so that'll give me kind of some little darker bits to work around, I think, and then I can always add some more of this over it later. One of the things with these genuine hog bristle brushes like this gesso brush that's made from hog bristle, real, it is very floppy once it gets wet, so it gets soggy and it kind of just does that. So that's one of the reasons why I really like the Aspen, because they hold their shape. They're like ice hog bristle, but they don't do that. They don't. They're synthetic hog bristle, so.
They're kind of like a Weeble.
Right. Right. All right. So that's good. I think that'll be good. And so now let's go ahead and get that angle brush. Or I might actually, instead of this one, I might actually use one of my softer ones, because I can get thinner lines probably with this. I'll see. This is a dagger striper. It's just like a little bit longer and thinner, more curved there. So it makes nice thin lines, almost like a liner brush. So let's go ahead and get some of that burnt umber. And I'm going to mix it in with that burnt blue. And maybe a little bit of black. Okay. And I think it had a little bit of burnt sienna mixed in there too, because it looks a little red to me, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to use this brush. This is that dagger striper, but you can also use an angle brush for this. I'm going to hold it pretty far back here. And one of the things that I want to do with this brush is kind of just draw and turn it as I turn. So if I want it to go this way, I want to make sure that that stays in line, if that makes sense. If I turn it like this, when it's on its flat side, it's going to make a line that's thick. So I'm going to, as I turn, I'm going to just ever so gently kind of push it up with my thumb, so that I'm always kind of keeping that edge of the brush in line with where I'm pointing it. But it makes really like natural looking branches and bristles and things. I just really like the way I used to use this for all those hundreds of nests that I did, we previously spoke about. So we'll just do a few little sticks coming out at different angles here. You could also use a round brush for this if you wanted to. I find that kind of just using my wrist and looking it out, it can be a little tricky to control. So let's use our angle brush and see what it looks like. One thing with the angle brush is you're only going to be able to get it as thin as you can get your bristles to go. So this one may not go as thin as we want. Like you can see how thin these are. So. And the other one is a little bit more flexible too, so I can get kind of some curves to my lines, whereas this angle brush is not as flexible. So
is the dagger striper a Princeton brush?
Yes, it was the Umbria, sorry. Umbria line. They do have them in I think the Velvet Touch too. I just don't have one this size in the Velvet Touch, I don't think. Whoops, got that one a little bit too big. That's where I got it on, kind of on its side as I was pulling on it. So I'm just gonna bloop that off real quick. Do this after your grass dries, so if you do have problems, you can erase it pretty easily. I'm gonna turn this so that I'm having an easier time. Pushing it away from me is creating that bigger that bigger thing. So always kind of pulling down to the side is easier to control. We could do this before we do our green too, so that's another option. Like if you want to be able to kind of cover up parts of it, but I'm probably just going to do another layer of green over this so that it kind of all sort of goes together. Okay, there we go. So we got kind of branches going every which way here. This is more than what's in the picture, but that's okay. I think that'll be good. Good enough. Yeah, I definitely thought that that one did a better job than the angle brush for sure, because the angle brush was a lot thicker. But you could also, like I said, do a round brush or something like that if you don't have that fancy brush. Okay, let me get some more of this, and I'm just gonna take some of the green, maybe a little bit of that green gold, maybe some unbleached titanium, and I'm just gonna kind of tap in some of these areas where the branches end. This will just kind of set them in if you need it. If you may not need it, but this will just kind of help make it look part of the wreath.
So they're just not laying on top.
Right. They kind of, especially like where they come down into the wreath, if you just tap a little color over them.
Like a bowerbird.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly like a bowerbird. We were just watching that. And then everybody was like, "What's a bower?" We're like,
It's protubers.
It's exactly, it's protuberance. Don't you know that? Everybody knows what that is. Duh. I've heard of it. You know, it's like one of those things that like you've heard of it, but can you define it? That was the tricky part. Define that. Explain it to a 6-year-old so they can understand it. It's like it's sticky out part. Yeah. Okay, so we got good. I got some like brighter green bits too. So let's go ahead and do some fun like leafy fern things coming out. And I think this is where I'm going to use my. Do I want to? I think I might use this one. I think I might use my 2 flat because it's got a nice long bristle there. I think it'll make nice leaves for me. Get that one. It's not got a part that's sticking out. Okay. Okay. So for my ferns, I think I want some green that is like kind of turning, sort of like looking like it's sort of turning. So I'm going to use some yellow some India yellow, burnt sienna, and just a tiny bit of my cadmium red. And then I'm going to just kind of carefully pick up just a little bit of this green that's down below here. And then maybe a little bit of the light color just so that it shows up against the background. We'll see how this does. Press my brush flat and then find kind of start with the whole thing there. Do like that. And then I'm gonna go to each one and kind of just do like little dabs on each little part. Dab, 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 dab. like along the stem. Trying to get smaller as it goes to the tip too. If it's disappearing there against the green or showing through, you can get a little bit of the thicker paint or get a little bit of the white or something to help. But there we go. So a little bit of fern. Let's just do this in several places out here and kind of overlap some of the sticks. Let's be that the center there. Kind of helps me to just kind of draw out my little bones first and then do them. Literally just kind of setting my brush down and kind of smushing it down a little bit. You don't have to press very hard. Get a little bit of the lighter colored. Make it show up. It's the unbleached titanium over this. Okay. It's just going to be a lot of little leaves and things. This is why I gave us 2 weeks to do this, because I figured it was just going to take a while to do it right. You know, there's a lot of little elements. We want to give them all their attention that they deserve. Grab some green and add some green in some of these. And then some of them we can just make regular leaves too. Just kind of set it down and sort of twist. We'll have lots of stuff going on over the top of this, so just trying to kind of judge where my mushrooms are going to go for my picture and trying to kind of fill in around, and we can add more of these later as we need them. This is just kind of our initial background sort of fillers. And I'm sure I'm going to have stuff over the top of this, so I'm just kind of trying to fill in as best I can. Looks good. Maybe add a little bit more red, maybe even a tiny bit magenta here. Do some with a little bit more red. Okay, again, we'll add more later after the mushrooms and everything go on, but I'm gonna wait. Okay, so let's go ahead and sort of add the areas where we know we're gonna have some mosses and things. So I'm gonna get the Phthalo, or I'm sorry, the Cobalt Teal and the Ultramarine Blue and make kind of a gray. I'm going to add a little bit of black to it and make kind of a gray, tealish gray color. And I'm going to dab it in where I know I'm going to, and I've kind of switched to that angle, back to the angle brush. I'm going to dab it in sort of where I know I'm going to put those white mushrooms here. And then again down here, so where these ones are going to go, and then over here where these ones are going to go. And I'm just kind of using the tip to sort of create little smushy, fuzzy brush strokes. Okay. And then I'm going to get some white. And maybe a little bit more of that cobalt teal. It's picking up a little bit of burnt umber too. I'm just going to use the tip of the brush You could also use the Stippler if you wanted to for this, but kind of like it to be a little bit linear, like it just kind of, you know, that moss kind of has that sort of wispy lines. You could also use a liner brush and just kind of do little squiggly lines here, whatever looks best to you. And I might go back in and add more detail later. We'll see how this looks. It's going a little bit thicker than I want probably, so my lines to be, so I can probably come back in and sort of fidget with it later. Seven. Well, if we got these done today, we could do something different next week. I'm just going to keep on going and we'll see how we do. I'm not going to rush it, but...
Sounds good to me.
Keep on. All right, so I want to be sure that everything is mostly dry where I'm touching this chalk because I don't want to lift anything off, but I do some stuff here, maybe a little acorn, some more leaves over here. And then up here where I've got these, I have some mushrooms. So I may cover some of that up with my mushrooms. And then these ones are long, flat mushrooms. Go over the top of that leaf pretty much all together. Somewhere in there. That one may be too big right here. And this one is kind of a... I may have to move these up a little bit. Make my little snail right here. here. How did I fit all these in this picture? Got so many mushrooms. Acorn, maybe a couple pine cones, maybe a pine cone down here somewhere. Okay. I think that's pretty close. Let's go ahead and this one's almost fallen off the edge, but I think we'll be able to make it work. So I'm just gonna put some brown sort of where that's gonna go. And same thing with this one.
So this is the angle brush.
Yeah, this is the angle brush again. Sorry.
Just using the tip of it.
Yeah, just the tip of it. Just making sure that all these are gonna kind of have a home before I start them. Just make it easier. Okay. I think that'll work.
Can we pull the camera down a little bit or push that up? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I could probably, I might move this up a little bit, these mushrooms here. Might move them up a little bit. This one up. Make these smaller. Let's redo these ones. Something like that. Okay, I'm going to switch to a round brush here.
Did you watch the Smurfs as a kid?
The what?
The Smurfs.
Some. Not much. Why?
Somebody asked, I guess,
Is that?
in relation to the mushrooms.
Oh, are they into mushrooms? The Smurfs?
I guess I don't know. I didn't watch them.
I do remember watching them. I don't remember much about them though, so I don't think I was like really into them.
I know they're blue. And there's a Papa. That's about it.
And there's a what? Papa Smurf?
A
Yeah.
Papa, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna bring some of the grassy bits out a little bit more. There. Okay, that background looks really light green, doesn't it? Like the way it dried, it didn't. It's now that we've got these other earthy tones on it, it's looking really bright. So we may tone it down later. We'll see. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump in and start on these mushrooms. I think. Well, as well. I'm gonna grab the. I've got the 2 round and my burnt umber, and I'm going to grab some magenta and ultramarine blue to make kind of a darkish purple, and we'll use use it on these ones up here. Nice thing about mushrooms is they're all, even within the same kind of mushroom, they all they change their shapes, you know, as they grow and they morph. And so you can kind of be creative with what you're, you know, doing with them. They don't have to be perfect. Getting some yellow, yellow oxide there, kind of for the top. And I may have to take out some of those sticks. I probably wouldn't put them behind these ones again if I'd remembered that I was doing this color back here, because I've got some little like sticks coming out that look funky. So I might just put some greenery stuff coming out of those sticks so that it looks like they're not mushrooms, or not, the mushrooms aren't growing stuff out of the tops of them. There we go. Just trying to touch it up, those green or those sticks that were coming out up there. Getting some more of that yellow oxide, maybe a little bit of unbleached titanium. Just gonna run it through the wet mushrooms. Alright, we'll leave those alone. We probably need another coat, but see, and I might bring up the, well, now there's some leaves there that I'm seeing that I need to put in still. So I'm gonna get the kind of more of a teal green here, a little bit of burnt sienna in my teal and green, a little bit of white. I'm gonna make like longer leaves here. Just kind of fill in right there with that. This will be leaves that we'll add details to later. Let's go ahead and do some down here too. I'm trying to do neutral colors and I end up with these colors that I like every time. It's just like I can't do. I need to just pre-mix stuff and then only be able to use the mixed stuff, because if I'm left to my own devices, I'm going to add the pretty colors in, the brighter colors. Oh well. It is what it is.
Control yourself.
I know. I can't help it. Let me get some more
Use the force.
yellow oxide and burnt sienna. Need to be mixing that in with everything to make them more oopsie, but that's brown. Which is probably what it needs to be, but when I see it, I'm just like, no, that's not it. But then when I look at my reference, it is it. It's just, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just talking to myself here. Don't worry about it. I'm having a
Oh, we're not interrupting.
crisis of
It's okay.
color here. Do I really want them to be that brown? Okay. Probably need to start with my background not being so light. Let me get some yellow and some green gold. And some burnt sienna. So this is the green gold, India yellow, burnt sienna. See, that's more that yellow greenish color. It's closer to what the background should be, probably. It's that avocado green kind of that from the 70s is sort of the vibe, I guess. I think we might have had a toilet once that was this color. It's okay. All right, now I just made it brighter green. I need to make it more brown, so I'm gonna get some burnt sienna.
More gold.
Yeah, right. Coppery, yeah, so burnt umber, burnt sienna.
I can tell there's a lot of thinking going on over there.
Sorry, yeah, I'm just
No, you're fine.
layering this on. This is the time to do it. You don't want to have too much more going on here before you do this step. And it's fine because it's, you know, it's going to tint everything if you make it transparent like I did. I added the gloss or the satin glazing liquid, so this is just gonna kind of tint everything this more earthy green. It's really not green, this is brown, but you know, it'll look like an earthy green once it's tinted. You could go over the whole thing at this point if you wanted to, if you had areas that were too bright or whatever. And you could go over it at the end too, once you get everything painted. So you can do this at any step you want. Do parts of the painting, all of the painting, whatever. You know, this is almost like putting a filter on it, you know, like photo filters where you tint it with red or gold or yellow or whatever, looking through a tinted filter. Okay, that's closer, definitely closer. I could do that a couple more times and get it even more brown, but I think that'll do. Lost on my drawing, but it's okay. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit more of that dark brown, and just kind of touch up these mushrooms here at the bottom. Gonna add some little stripy bits and anything else. If you didn't get the tops light enough, we can maybe, I think it might give them a little bit more highlight. I'm just pulling up with my dark color there to give them some stripes. And I'm going to get some of my white and just kind of go not quite to the top there. And oh my gosh, what is going on? How did I get so much paint on my brush? Just a little bit. Kind of flattened out that brush. And just going to kind of dry brush a little highlight, just not quite at the very top. There, okay. Good. And then get a little bit of unbleached titanium, my yellow oxide, and kind of highlight a couple of these leaves that are right there. India yellow and unbleached titanium.
Work on the left side.
On the left side? Over here? Okay.
Just so you don't get your hand in the wet paint.
Okay, thank you.
Did you hear that? Sound like wind or something. So weird.
Just adding highlights to those leaves that I did earlier to make them stand out a little bit more.
The special guest has arrived.
Oh, she has. Hi, Noah. How are you? You doing good tonight?
Tuning in to watch some painting.
Yeah, we're painting some mushrooms. Well, not yet. I did a few right here. And a wreath. And a bunch of leaves. Looks like a mess right now because I already just covered up all my drawing. Let's draw it back in here real quick.
Oh, she said that she needs her Gigi.
She needs her Gigi.
Yep.
I like it.
Nothing about Peepaw, but that's okay. I understand.
Well, we'll have to come see her again.
She's coming to see us.
She's coming to see us?
In a couple weeks.
That's right, for her birthday. Halloween. That'll be fun. Looking forward to it. Okay, I'm going to put that little one right here. This gives me an opportunity to move these up a little bit that I first drew. I kind of did them down too far. Now once we start to get some elements in here, then we can start to tuck things around too. The other way of doing it is to do your mushrooms first and then tuck other things around, but sometimes you want the mushrooms to be covering up things, so it's kind of a, you kind of do a little bit and then cover and then put the mushrooms in and then cover it again with other things, so kind of have all these different layers happening. Yeah, so I thought I might do a pine cone like coming out right here, since we got kind of an empty space right there, and then maybe another one right here. And then I was thinking of one over there, but I maybe not. And then this one coming up here. Look good. I feel like there needs to be something over here. Maybe this is where the other pine cone can go. Or maybe these can come out a little. I don't know if I want something brown right here though, with the brown there. So, might just do leaves here. All right, I'm not going to worry about it right now. We'll just do what we know we want, and then we'll work on what we want to fill in later once we get there. I think I'm going to get a little bit smaller brush, get a little bit smaller angle brush, the 3/8 inch angle, and we'll just work on this right up here. What time is it? Okay. Yeah, I definitely think we'll need next week, because I don't think I'll get all of these done this week. I'm going to get some of my magenta and unbleached, and cadmium red. I have a little bit of white here that I'm mixing in. Burnt sienna as well. So I kind of want a peachy pink color. I'm going to use it for this one and for this one. How are you doing, hon? You got all quiet all of a sudden over there.
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I was looking up the difference between mushrooms and toadstools.
Are they not the same thing?
According to the interwebs, a toadstool is a colorful, more colorful, brightly colored than a mushroom, and is typically poisonous.
Interesting.
So, like the red one at the bottom of your reference,
Right.
would be considered a toadstool.
So it is just a more brightly colored mushroom? Is it in the mushroom family, or is it just a totally different thing?
It's a fungus, like a mushroom. It's just a way to distinguish between the two, apparently. And I guess in Europe too, they define toadstools more like in the forest, I believe, and mushrooms in a field.
I never knew that. I just thought toadstools was the name of a type of mushroom.
You can't believe everything on the internet, that's for sure. There is no biological distinction between the two.
Okay. It's just the way they're named.
Correct. It just distinguishes that one is more colorful and poisonous.
Got it. I always thought toadstools were the red ones with the white dots on them. That's what I thought. But I never researched it, so. Getting some white and some yellow added now. I'm gonna add that at the bottom here. I'm gonna need a second coat for all these, so probably just adding a little bit of white. And let's go ahead and kind of draw up into here, and I'm going to try to do it while that red is still sort of wet. I should have done it earlier so that it kind of blends a little bit with it. There we go. I think it did. Kind of just trying to get that red to blend a little bit. And then a little bit under here. All the way to the top. Just be parallel and then just kind of follow that edge of the mushroom there. So as they go around, they're going to curve kind of like the edge. And I'm going back in with some brighter on some of the tips. And leave the blended part. And then right at the top of this one, there's a bunch of white that's kind of coming down, so I'm just going to set my brush down and kind of drag it in over a little bit. Okay, and then I got a little too far there, so I'm just going to get some more of my red. Sort of come up over it again.
Somebody would like to know if you're going to be painting with watercolors again anytime soon.
Would you guys like me to? I will, if you like me to. I was going to do one, but then I never, when I get voted, you know, like in my Patreon group, they don't tend to vote for the watercolor stuff. So they're more into the acrylics, I guess. So if I get enough interest in it, I will definitely do it. Maybe at Christmas time again, we can do some more ornaments. That was fun last year, doing the little ornaments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think they were asking, so they would be sure not to tune in on that day.
Okay.
You gonna be doing it again next week? Okay, good. I won't be here then.
Won't be here. Well, it's such a different you know, it's like almost opposite what I do. Mm-hmm. Almost exactly opposite, you know, because like with this, it's all about layers. And with watercolors, we had to leave all of these spaces for the watercolor bits to go later, you know, so it's just like a totally opposite way of approaching art.
I see a second channel in your future.
Well, I need to do a lot more work on learning it before I can really teach it.
You can learn and grow and teach at the same time.
Yeah.
people trust you as you learn and teach them also at the same time.
True.
Unlike me, if I was to do it, 5 years later, we still wouldn't be very good at it.
Yeah. Just, well, it's more stressful to teach. No, I'm not. Let me just explain. It's more stressful because with this, I have enough experience with acrylics that I know if I get myself in a jam or, I get it where it doesn't look good, I know what to do to fix it. And with watercolors, I don't. I don't know how to do that yet. So until I get confident enough or knowledgeable enough, experienced enough to where I can get myself out of it, I don't want to end on something that is not, like I don't, it's not doing it live at least, if I was recording it, I could stop and fix it and come back and, or whatever. But when I do it live, I have to at least have a decent product at the end. And with watercolor, it's just like, I don't always have a decent product at the end. Sometimes I really flub it up and can't fix it, or end up, just with something that I wouldn't be wanting to put out there in the world in a video for everybody to replicate. I don't know if that makes sense, but all right. Okay, so I kind of was using that angle brush, but I'm starting to get into some little tight spots and I need more control. So I'm going to get my round brush now. This is a 4 round, and I'm going to get that red again, which was that burnt sienna and magenta and cadmium red light. And I'm going to come in here and put in some of that. And it's going on more transparently here. I don't want it necessarily to cover everything. Just want to go in here and darken up some bits. Okay, we'll let that sit. Gonna get some more of the whitish pink. Had a little bit of that yellow, India yellow mixed in with the white. It's the same color that I just used with the burnt sienna and all. Just blend it out with that white and the tip a little bit. Right? White and yellow. Right, and then I'm going to get that yellow, India yellow, and go back in and just kind of put in some deeper yellow. Okay. Let's go back to the angle brush, and I'm going to work on this one here. I'm going to use the same colors here and just dab on some color along the rim. Get some more of that original reddish burnt sienna color. Dab that on. I need to clean out my because I'm getting little bits of other colors in there. You can see like it's grabbing little bits of dried paint. Getting some, she says, and then keeps painting. Burnt umber and unbleached titanium here. Just gonna kind of pull it down in that area right there. And then I'm going to get that burnt umber, maybe a little bit of black, and just kind of flick it up into that wet paint. Get some more of that unbleached titanium. Come in the opposite direction. Kind of making a mess here. I'm trying to use that bladed edge of the knife or the paintbrush to do little stripies. Okay, we'll have to let that dry. Okay, go back to this white, light white. I'm just gonna add a little bit of it across the top here. Dry brushing, very light touches. A little bit on my brush. Getting a little bit more of that red. Dabbing it around the edges. Okay, and then I'm going to get a little bit of the darker color and put it kind of underneath, like as if it's kind of a little bit of it peeking through underneath. Okay. I'll let that dry. I'm going to go back to my round brush. I'm going to go back to the Chantilly here and get some of the white and mix it with that light pink color. So I want like a whiter, lighter color. And then that should be dry now. Okay, so hopefully this will be the last I mess with this one. I'm just going to very carefully draw in some of these little these flutes or whatever ribs that are underneath. Okay. And they should kind of also merge and meet up right there at the stem. And I'm just going to kind of do a few little stripies on the stem there. We'll leave that, and then I'll probably glaze over it.
They're called gills.
Gills. Ah, that makes sense. Gills. Thank you, honey. Just dabbing on a little highlight across the top there. Leave it be. Okay, that looks a little bit better. I definitely need to probably glaze it because it looks a little bit bright all over. All right, let's do one more pair and then we'll end for tonight because I think, well, let's finish this one here and then we'll be done. So I'm going to get my white. Well, actually, I want to give it another coat here with the red. I'm going to go more orangey red on this one. So So get more of that cadmium red light and my magenta. And put that on there. And then in the middle, I'm going to get a little bit of that burnt umber with my magenta and kind of just do like a little section right in the middle. Sort of flat oval of darker color where it's kind of bottomed out. And then get some black and white, some yellow oxide, just like a little burnt umber, I don't know, just a dark grayish color. I'm just kind of making mud here with what we've already used, and I'm going to use it under here to kind of do the little area underneath that's peeking out. Get some unbleached titanium and just dab a little, like as if there's gills under there that are just barely peeking out. Having a little bit of that unbleached titanium over that line of brown that I just did. Okay. I'm not using the picture or the drawing here. I'm going to wipe that off because I don't want you to be confused by that. I'm just going to get rid of all that. And getting that whitish gray color and going up underneath here, kind of right in the middle, pulling it down, keep it pretty thin. At the bottom here, I'm just going to kind of do some little tissue, kind of breaks off, and then right along them, about halfway up, there's also an area that kind of breaks off and creates a little apron. All right, and get my white. I'm gonna wipe that off. Dab that on over a little bit more, and then I'm going to dab on top and around and just kind of do little zigzaggy lines and kind of pull up and leave a little bit of dark here and there and dark underneath. Just like that. And then I'm going to use this with a little bit of that dark gray. Just go back and do those little bits around the outside. Just little bits. And then let's use this dark gray also on the little dots. So just dabbing. Just be random about it. Some a little bit larger, some smaller. Okay. And then getting my whitish, like a little bit of gray still, but mostly white. I'm going to go just above that dark gray that I just did on all of these. So just find those same spots and then just do a little bit of white highlight. Okay, and then I'm going to get some of the yellow oxide with my white. clean that out a little bit. I'm just gonna dab it all, kind of starting sort of halfway up. And dab it right along the edge there. This should go between that red and the little stuff underneath that we're seeing peek out. Okay, all right, looks good. Let's use a little bit of this yellow on our stem here. Tone it. And then I'm going to use a little bit of the darker kind of blackish color just to shadow a couple spots. And especially like where it kind of goes down into the grass. Give it some creases here and there. Okay, looks good. And then let's go ahead and add this black up here to this guy's stem. And then some the unbleached titanium, kind of just pull it down. So give it little streaks in the stem there. Some of the magenta and burnt sienna with a little bit of black. I'm just going to darken up this side of the mushroom here where he comes around, and maybe a little bit on this side too. Get some of the unbleached titanium and the burnt sienna red mixture that was the original color. I want to kind of make that a little bit more of a point right there. Maybe a little bit more magenta. I went back in with that opaque color there with the original color because I wanted to realize I didn't have my shape quite where I wanted it. Now I'm just putting my shadow back in. You shouldn't have to do that if you got it right the first time. I'm going to get some of the lighter color here, a little bit of unbleached titanium mixed in, and just kind of dab it along the edge of that mushroom and kind of blend it out a little bit. Okay. Putting that highlight is going to pull it out towards us. So if we want the front part to look even more kind of rounded towards us, we can put the highlight just the brightest right in the middle right here. And that part will stick out more than these edges here if we leave them a little bit darker. And then let's go ahead and put a little bit more of the highlight right there too. Okay. All right, so we got several done. There, got a few more left to do next week, but let me go ahead and, while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna glaze back that. So I'm gonna get that yellow, India yellow. I'm picking up some of that burnt sienna that was the background color too. That's fine. Not gonna hurt anything. I'm just gonna glaze right up to that white border on this, so that all of this just kind of gets pushed back a little bit, makes it look a little bit more natural. I might even do it on there, and then I can go in with a little bit darker color. So if I want the burnt sienna, just the burnt sienna with the glaze. And the glaze just, again, makes it easier to make your color more transparent without having to add a lot of water to it. I'm just going to add it where I know, like right here, where there might be a little shadow underneath there, kind of on the stem. I'm going to get rid of all this. Okay. Looks better. Cute. And then we can use some of these yellows in other places on some of our other, you know, like a little bit on here, just a tint so that they kind of go together, you know. Once you get your thing done, you can add a little bit of the other colors that you've used around, like we might use a little bit of the green in here once we do more green, that kind of thing. Just kind of helps make everything look cohesive. But so far so good. So we'll be back next week to finish this up. Let me know if you like these longer 2-part lessons too. A lot of times the second part of the lessons don't do as well. Like when I did the one with the green background and the flowers and mushrooms and butterflies and stuff earlier last year, it didn't do so well. So this is I'm trying it again. If it doesn't do well again, then I'll know that you guys don't really like these 2-parters. But this is one of the only ways that I can think of to offer you guys the longer tutorials. So if you like these longer tutorials, then be sure to watch part 2, because if you don't, then it makes me think that you don't like these and I won't do them anymore. But I do like to be able to do these, longer, more detailed lessons with you guys on Tuesday nights and be able to take my time with them. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you'll be back for part 2 next week. And I guess that's it for now.
So you got your Patreon?
Yeah, check out the Patreon. I will go ahead and draw up a traceable for this and have that probably up tomorrow. And it may not be exactly, because I haven't finished it yet, but it'll be close to what I, plan. And then, yeah, we'll be back next week to finish it up. I've got my brand new $15 tier project, the challenge project, that we're starting this Thursday. So we're going to be doing a reindeer with some birds on its antlers, and we'll be working on that for several weeks. Yeah. So thankfulart.com. You can check out all of my other tutorials and go to the tutorial section, and you can search for anything that I've painted. I've got almost, I think, about 1,000 paintings on there now at this point, between the Patreon ones and the free ones. But there's almost 1,000 free ones on YouTube right now, so that I've done over the last 12 years or so. So hopefully you'll find something you like. And again, we'll be back next week. Give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe if you haven't already. I didn't mention that yet, but please do. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.